Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley. This morning I went for my bike ride on 5 Mile Line in Penfield. And I rode by a sign. It said, "Re-elect Sandra Doorley." I won't be voting for you. No one should vote for you in Monroe County because you are a corrupt, incompetent, disgusting, pathetic excuse for a public servant. I'm going to tell you about my experience in Penfield Town Court before your assistant district attorney, 2 of them, in fact. I live at 26 Sanders Farm Drive here in Penfield. So I used to go to a gym called PW Fitness, which is across from Wegmans Food Markets on Penfield Road. And I'm in this gym, and I'm at the back of the gym. I'm doing 3 sets of 10 on the bench press. And after the second set of 10, Jermaine Benman walks up to me. I've never talked to Jermaine Benman before. I don't know Jermaine Benman. I think I encountered him once in the gym, and he's one of these guys that likes to scream in the gym. So he motions like this from right to left for me to get off the bench press, and I'm on the bench press, so I'm not getting off, and I lean back on the machine like this, and I continue the exercise. And Jermaine Benman stands over me, punches downward, and my head snaps back like this, and this is a violent assault. And someone at the gym sees this violent assault, and he calls the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. And I go outside with Jermaine Benman, with Andrew Reale of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. And Andrew Reale puts me in his vehicle, or tells me to sit in the backseat of his vehicle, which I do. And Andrew Reale is talking to Jermaine Benman in front of his vehicle because he's coaching Benman what to say. And Andrew Reale walks around with Benman to the side of his Monroe County Sheriff's vehicle, and Benman says to me, "I want to press charges against you." And then Reale walks away from the vehicle with Benman. I'm still sitting in the vehicle. I exit the vehicle, and Reale hands me a ticket that says, "Harassment second." I've never harassed anybody in my life. Every family member, every friend, every coworker, every girlfriend, everybody that's ever known me in my life will confirm that fact, because it's not who I am. It's not in my character. It's not who I think. Everybody deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. So I walk home and I'm looking at this ticket, and I'm disgusted by it. I'm in a state of disbelief that I'm charged like this, just for sitting in the vehicle after this violent thug, Jermaine Benman, attacked me at the gym. And I could take a punch and I can handle myself. And I was going to respond to Benman by introducing my foot to his balls, but that would make me just as violent as Benman. And I don't believe in violence. So here I am, charged with harassment second by Andrew Reale of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Now I have to go to Penfield Town Court. And when I go to Penfield Town Court, I'm standing there in front of John Lomenzo, and you know who he is. And John Lomenzo is a 70-year-old fanatic, extremist, repulsive human being. What is he doing on Penfield Town Court at that age? And what is he doing when he's releasing Daniel Galouse into Penfield? Does that name sound familiar to you, Sandra? Because he's been before your prosecutors. Daniel Galouse was arrested by the Monroe County Sheriff's Office after witnesses observed him trying to entice children with candy or some effect. I believe it was candy. And then he has to appear, Daniel DeLouse, in Penfield Town Court before John Lomenzo. And John Lomenzo has a relationship with the father of Daniel DeLouse, and he doesn't recuse himself. He doesn't say, Daniel DeLouse III shouldn't be in front of me because I have a relationship with the second. John Lomenzo Jr. does not do that in Penfield Town Court. So, John Lomenzo claims that the documents produced by the sheriff's office or your office were, quote, defective, end quote, and he releases DeLouse. So DeLouse is a free man. After witness statements showed that he was trying to entice children with candy. So he is rearrested for doing the same thing, Daniel DeLouse. So John Lomenzo in Penfield Town Court is releasing a sexual predator in Penfield. The most disgusting human beings on earth are those who rape children. And that's what Daniel DeLouse is trying to do in Penfield, in Monroe County. And John Lomenzo is releasing Daniel DeLouse back into the community in Penfield and in Monroe County because of a concoction such as defective documents and because he has a relationship with the father. So, I have to appear before John Lomenzo. After this violent thug, Jermaine Benman, attacks me at the gym, and after this corrupt Andrew Reale, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, writes, harassment second. Harassment second. I told my mother and father about this ticket, and she cried. And that's not the first time she's cried for what the Monroe County Sheriff's Office has done to my life and Ty Baxter and his collection of fanatics. So, I go to Penfield Town Court, and I appear before John Lomenzo. In front of your prosecutor, I look over at your prosecutor, Sandra, as you were up for re-election, as you won another 4 years as district attorney. I look over at her to my left, just like this. I'm standing at the podium. Lomenzo's in front of me. I'm looking at her. And your prosecutor, Sandra, says not one word. There is not a sound, not a syllable. There is nothing from her. It is total and complete silence from your prosecutor. And this proceeding is less than 5 minutes. It ends. I go in the back. Andrew Reale puts the handcuffs on me. And he tells me, we decided to arrest you before you got here today. So he knows how I'm charged, Andrew Reale. He knows he marches Benman around to the side of the vehicle for this despicable piece of paper that I look at. This piece of paper reminds me of injustice. That injustice thrives in Monroe County, in Penfield, and in your office, Sandra. Injustice thrives in your office. So, your prosecutor says nothing. And I go to Monroe County Jail, and I'm at that jail with a man who murdered his neighbor in Rochester. I'm in there with a rapist who talked about the rape. I'm in there with a man who beat up his girlfriend, and he talked about how he beat the bitch. That's his language. Beat the bitch. I don't talk like that. And I'm in there with gang members. And I would go to sleep in my cell, and I would look up. And I would see these gang members up there, and they were speaking Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. And I asked the guy next to me, he does. And he told me they're talking about the crimes that got them in there and the crimes they want to commit when they get out. And I don't know my sentence. I kept saying, how long am I going to be here? And I'm finally released, and it's even worse when I'm released. Because the abridgment of my civil and constitutional rights continues. So, Sandra, what is the name of the prosecutor in my case? My email is chichesterjul4@gmail. chichesterjul4@gmail. cchichesterjul4@gmail. You got that? Email me her name. My address, 26 Sanders Farm Drive, Penfield, New York, 14526. 26 Sanders Farm Drive, Penfield, New York, 14526. Do you understand where you can contact me with her name? Because I have a name, but I'm not sure if it's the correct name. Because the name on the document may not be the name of the woman that was in Penfield Town Court. So, but I do have a name of one of your employees, your taxpayer-subsidized employees in the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Because Jermaine Lamar Benman, this violent thug, he has to appear in Penfield Town Court for a bench trial for Mully. And I received a subpoena. I've been to jail because this violent thug attacked me. Keep that in mind. And Andrew Reale knows how I'm charged with harassment second. I've never harassed anyone in my life. Ever. So, this is your subpoena with your name on it. Sandra Doorley. You and each of you are hereby commanded to appear before Penfield Town Court, Town of Penfield, 1985 Bad Road, Penfield, New York, on August 2nd, 2018 at 12 p.m. and at any recessed or adjourned date as a witness in a criminal action prosecuted by the people of the state of New York versus Jermaine Lamar Benman. Sandra Doorley, District Attorney. Take notice. Please bring this subpoena and requested books, records, or other evidence with you to the Penfield Town Court, 1985 Bad Road, Penfield, New York, and ask to see Assistant District Attorney Jessica Wagner. Jessica Wagner. I go to Penfield Town Court and I comply with the subpoena because I believe in the law. I walk down the hallway to reach Penfield Town Court, which I hope you know is in a library. And my girlfriend Laura used to work in that library, and I used to go over to see Beautiful Perfect Laura. And I've been over there about 10 times when Beautiful Perfect Laura worked over there. But I did not know that Penfield Town Court is in a library, even though Beautiful Perfect Laura worked there. This is 1984. That a court you could go to jail to as an innocent man is in a library. So, what happens is, your prosecutor says nothing. I'm off to jail as an innocent man. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sandra, but the prosecutor talks in court. The prosecutor makes an argument in court. The prosecutor says, that guy there, he did it. He committed this crime. The prosecutor details the crime to the judge and the jury. That's what happens in court. A prosecutor exercises a First Amendment right by talking in court. So, I walk in to the front door where the library is, and I walk down that hallway. And I go to the window to speak to the clerk. And I say, my name is Chris Chichester. And I show them the subpoena. I said, I have a subpoena here. People of State of New York versus Jermaine Lamar Benman. And she tells me to go sit in the courtroom, which I do. I'm sitting in the courtroom. Now, this is before James Mully. I appear before Lomenzo, I go to jail. Benman's appearing before James Mully. I'm sitting in the courtroom in Penfield Town Court. An employee of the court approaches me and says, are you Chris Chichester? I said, yes. She told me I would have to leave the courtroom and go sit in the room next to the courtroom, which I comply with. And I thought that was bizarre, and I'm going to find out what they're doing. Real soon it's going to occur to me what's happening. So, I get a subpoena, I comply with it, I show up, and then they tell me to sit in a room next to Penfield Town Court as Benman's going to appear before James Mully. And I'm in this room for about 15 minutes. And then the same woman comes back into the room and she says to me, you can leave. Those are words. You can leave. I don't know what just happened. You can leave. So, I don't leave. I want to know what happened with Benman, this violent thug. And what happened is, Sandra, is that there's a deal between Jessica Wagner, James Mully, and the attorneys for Jermaine Benman. Because when I walk to the window and ask what happened with the Jermaine Benman case, I'm told by the clerk for Mully and Lomenzo that it's, quote, adjournment of dismissal, end quote. And I don't know what adjournment of dismissal is. So I ask her, what is adjournment of dismissal? And this clerk tells me, quote, if he stays out of trouble, then the charges are dismissed, end quote. If he stays out of trouble, the charges are dismissed. You got that? This is a disgusting, corrupt deal that your office manufactured with James Mully and the attorney for Jermaine Lamar Benman to exonerate Benman, even though he's a violent thug, Sandra. So, Assistant District Attorney Jessica Wagner, her name is on this. Your Assistant District Attorney, Sandra, made this deal to let this violent thug, Jermaine Benman, walk at the door at the library courtroom of James Mully. Now, Sandra, you have been told by me repeatedly through registered mail, return receipt about these facts. And you know what I hear from you, Sandra? As you're up for re-election? Nothing. Not a word, not a sound, not a syllable. Because my constitutional and civil rights, my humanity and dignity don't exist in Penfield, New York, and Monroe County. So, what is the name of the prosecutor in my case? Email me her name. Because I have a name, but I'm not quite sure. And if I'm not quite sure, if I don't know what the facts are, then I'm not moving forward. Because I'm moving forward relentlessly. And I've been doing this for a year, and I'm going to continue to do this. And you know what I'm going to do, Sandra? I'm going to come to your events. I'm going to be right there next to you. And I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to ask you questions about your events, such as, how does an innocent man go to jail when the prosecutor from the Monroe County District Attorney's Office says not one word in court? How does that happen in the United States of America? How does that happen in the office of Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley? How does that happen in the United States of America, Sandra? Why should anybody vote for you? Tell me. Why do you deserve another 4 years as Monroe County District Attorney, Sandra, when your prosecutor stood in Penfield Town Court, didn't say a word, and watched me go off to jail? And I've repeatedly contacted you about this, and I hear nothing. Nothing. So, this is what I'm going to do. And I know you're going to use it. You're going to make the same decision about what I'm going to do that Sheriff Todd Baxter has made. I'm going to send you repeatedly, between now and Election Day, a Freedom of Information Law document, because I want the public employee payroll of everyone at Monroe County District Attorney's Office. I want to know how much every single employee makes at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. It's a simple document. It's going to say the public employee payroll at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. And you know what you're going to do, Sandra, as the District Attorney in Monroe County? You will refuse to comply with that document, even though your entire existence is because of the taxpayers of Monroe County, the state of New York. So I'm going to send you this foil 10 plus times between now and Election Day. And every single time you, Sandra, will refuse to comply with the law and tell me what your public employees earn at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. So, I'll ask you again, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, what is the name of your public employee, your prosecutor, who stood in Penfield Town Court and said not one word as I am delivered to Monroe County Jail as an innocent man?